Okay, we do have quorum.
Perfect. All right. Then let's go ahead and call the meeting to order at 9 o'clock sharp. All right. Do you want to do roll call? I know you kind of just checked, but
It's okay. Mike Baker,
Here.
Janice Baker. I can see Janice online, but I cannot hear her.
Here.
Thank you. Natasha Atkinson,
Here.
Jonna Steele. I can also see John. There we go. Asked to unmute.
Can you hear me now?
Okay. Kathy Dewhurst Prairie,
Here.
Doug Mendenhall. And it looks as though we are missing Doug, but we do have quorum.
okay. All right. Then this is actually virtual, and it's pretty difficult for us to do the Pledge of Allegiance virtually. We've seen that in the past. Do we want to try it?
Everybody is muted, so it is up to you.
I just skip it.
Okay, we'll go ahead and skip it, but we do pledge allegiance to the flag.
Yes.
All right. Okay, so our main agenda item today is to discuss the opportunity to hire a consultant for general manager position and possible reorganization. So this actually came out of two different ideas. One was a need to fill the general manager position, and then also one idea was that we need some assistance in figuring out what the future of the district looks like. We have had 2 resignations submitted within the week, which are 2 of our major leadership positions. And we also have some financial issues that are coming up in the very near future. We were put on notice by ODOT that there are charging stations that the funds need to be returned for the charging station purchase. So we are problem solving and trying to get through this recent crisis that is that is upon us. And we're working very closely with ODOT to come up with solutions within the next about less than 45 days. So the idea that we were discussing regarding this potential consultant, we were able to get one proposal from Politigy that has been submitted to the board, and I hope everybody's had an opportunity to take a look at it. It's also been sent over to ODOT to take a look at, and it's been sent to our attorney. And there are a few concerns with the proposal as it sits right now, and I'll just kind of outline those, and if anyone wants to jump in that may have additional understanding. I am working from my phone right now and I can't view all the documents at once, but one of the main concerns is that this is considered a small procurement, which under Oregon law does not require a competitive process under 25,000. However, there are also federal regulations that's my understanding, that are a little bit more restrictive, and that would consider a small procurement like this still needing to go through the competitive process. We are, of course, in a situation here where we need to move as quickly as possible. Every day that passes by is really a crucial moment for us to be able to work through this very complex problem that we have. But we hear the concerns of ODOT regarding needing to go through the bidding process for a larger procurement. So we have a couple of options. Our attorney has, and actually, Cheryl, are you able to share your screen. Yeah, we have a letter from an attorney or from our attorney that outlines a couple of things that we may want to consider. So one of them is to remove the indemnification clause from the proposal. And I think that is a quick fix that we can probably have that modified fairly easily. Okay, let me see. I can't really see your screen.
Oh, it is shared. Would you like me to read?
Oh, there we go. If I turn my phone sideways, I can see it a little better. Yeah, actually, do you want to just read through the whole thing? I don't think everybody's had an opportunity to review it, and I think that would be good.
Okay, so this is submitted by our district attorney, Ron Sperry. I have reviewed the general consulting contract submitted by Politici. Under the current circumstances, I believe it is very reasonable for the board to consider entering into a temporary management contract as long as the board retains its authority to direct the operations of the district big picture staff. And as long as entering into the contract does not violate public policy or bid requirements. ORS 279A.010 et al. Enumerate the rules regarding public contracting. The statute lists certain exemptions to follow the public contracting code. One of the listed exemptions is for emergency procurement. Under ORS 279A.010(1) and F, an emergency is defined as circumstances that A, could not have been reasonably foreseen, or B, create a substantial risk of loss, damage or interruption of services, or a substantial threat to property, public health, welfare, or safety, and C, require prompt execution of a contract to remedy the condition. I believe the board can consider the sudden and unanticipated resignation of the general manager and operations manager as a defined emergency under this statute. Emergency procurement is any contract a public body enters into in response to an emergency in the hope of mitigating or remedying the emergency or the effects of an emergency. Thus, under state law, local officials do not need to follow normal competitive procurement process for emergency procurements. ORS 279B.080(1) limits a public body's authority to bypass normal competitive procurement process by requiring contracts must be limited to emergency procurements of goods or services. Emergency procurement should not include goods or services that are immediately necessary, that are not immediately necessary in an emergency. I believe the proposed contract places a proper limitation on the duration of the services contracted for and is reasonable. In awarding an emergency contract, the board must 1, document the nature of the emergency, and 2, describe the method used for selecting the contractor. See ORS 279B.080(1). You must encourage competition as much as possible under the circumstances, but regarding non-construction contract guidelines, the statute doesn't say what that should look like. State law does not require competitive bids for personal service contracts, but the public body must have adopted local rules governing the direct award of personal service contracts. Personal service contracts are contracts with a person or firm for the performance of services requiring professional skill or professional judgment for a specific period of time, like the proposed contract proposed by Politici. I am not aware whether the district has adopted local rules for awarding direct personal service contracts. If not, I believe moving forward under the emergency procurement statute is appropriate in this instance. Contract. I have reviewed the proposed contract and have no major concerns. The contract contains a provision that all work product belongs to the district, which is good. The contract contains a confidentiality agreement regarding any and all proprietary information owned or used by the district or Politigy, which is good. The contract is a personal service contract with limited duration and scope, which I believe meets the standard for emergency procurement. There is an indemnification clause that appears to restrict the district's ability to sue Politigy by the district, which should be removed. The second paragraph under indemnification should limit indemnification to third parties only and not include a restriction on the district's ability to sue for any breach of contract, fraud, intentional or negligent harm caused by Politigy's actions, etc. The district should retain its right to sue, but it would be reasonable for the district to indemnify Politigy as against third parties, except in situations where Politigy acted intentionally, recklessly, or negligently. The contract references statements of work or SOW, which was not attached to the copy I reviewed. I would not recommend signing the contract until the statement of work are provided with the fee schedule. The board may move to accept the contract provisionally upon the condition that the board reviews and approves the statement of work and fee schedule, which may require a second board meeting once the statement of work and fee schedule are provided. If they are provided for tomorrow's hearing, that would be today, then the board may review them and move to accept the contract as proposed, or move to accept the contract with any proposed changes to the terms of the contract, statement of work, or fee schedule. Or the board may move to deny the contract. I know this is long, but I felt it was important to set out as much information as possible to enable the board to make a decision.
Perfect. Okay. So, and thank you so much.
Michaela,
Reading that. Yeah.
there's a good amount of things in the comments, so in the chat. So
Oh.
Amy, I apologize if I pronounced her
Hold
last
on
name.
just a second. With this actually isn't supposed to have any public comment. We're supposed to be discussing this as a board. So really those comments should have been turned off for this meeting, but I don't want to go through and address all the comments right now. I want us to focus on the business. And if we decide as a board to take public comment at the end, we can certainly do that. But specifically, Cheryl had noted no public comment for this meeting in the
Okay.
agenda. Okay, so my first question is for the sorry, I need still have the letter pulled up, Cheryl. I don't see it anymore.
No, I just, would you like me to share it again?
Well, I wanted to know, do we have our own procurement policy for personal services? Do we have any standing rules for that?
We do have a procurement policy, and I can forward that out to the entire board.
Okay. Perfect. So we will go ahead
Cheryl?
and need to review that.
Cheryl,
Yes,
could you possibly, when you're forwarding that, could you also forward the letter from the attorney? Because it
I
would be a
can.
lot easier to read it on my big screen.
I can.
You cannot?
Yes, I can.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. So what I got from that is that we need to remove the indemnification clause. We need to ensure that the board is retaining authority. We need the statement of work, which I actually believe is in the proposal that was sent over. I need to pull it up to take another look at it, but we'll double check that nothing needs to be added. And then the main issue here is whether or not the procurement is needing bids. So I'm not sure if everybody had a chance to look through those different levels of procurement. Cheryl had sent something out, and then there was also a link for the procurement process in Oregon. And so there are different levels of it. There's up to $10,000. There's then from 10,000 to 25,000, and then 25,000, I think, to 250,000. So the other option that we have right now as well is that we could reduce this contract to be a 4-week contract instead of a 12-week contract, which would allow us to have the time to take additional bids, to not miss time, this very critical moment that we have right now. We have, I think, 40 days or maybe a little bit less than that, to really be able to sort of correct course and address this financial issue. So that is an option as well, where we could have a temporary consultant for the next 4 weeks and then address the larger procurement by taking bids, multiple bids from the community, which I think is a good option. The other thing that has been brought to my attention is that ODOT is concerned about STIF funds being used for any procurement. We do have an option potentially to use medical transportation income, which would not be STIF funds, which would not have that more strict procurement requirement as well. So this is all just a lot of information that I'm providing, and I would like to open it up for board members to tell me their thoughts and have a robust discussion about what we believe is the best way to move forward.
Yeah, I guess I have a number of questions and comments on that and looking at that, Michaela. I'm a little concerned about trying to break up the contract. Well, first of all, I'm not exactly sure if we need the contract. We have an email from the operations manager who would like to rescind his resignation, which he was going to resign in September, which I think we would have to accept or deny to do that. And it seems like he could probably fill in perhaps as an interim general manager. So do we need that? And I would be concerned with consulting out a general manager position to a company that really has no transit experience or knowledge. There's just all sorts of qualifications and all sorts of other things there that seems problematic to me. And then even just breaking up a contract to try to keep it in the micro purchase area, I don't think is necessarily in compliance either with FTA regulations, because if you intend to continue something, it's basically you have to add all of that to it as well in the future. And I'm also wondering if we've contacted special, if we really do need something, have we contacted special districts? Because many times they have people waiting in the wings that can come in and kind of step in and do some stuff. So just kind of on the timing, I'm not sure that that's appropriate.
I think we missed a step. I think that we need to start with ODOT and ask what their suggestions are in this process. And if they have someone available, I feel like we're jumping ahead here, where we need to take a pause and start with our existing resources before we bring in other people.
I personally, I'm new to the game, but I think that ODOT has been giving us some bad advice, it sounds like. And so I welcome an outsider taking a look at things. I do think this idea of just having a short contract, we're not really calling it a short agreement, and opening bids up to other resources to actually take it for the 3-month haul is not a bad idea either. And I do have a problem with somebody who in their letter stated that they were advised to just take a step back, not resign. They were advised by at least 2 parties to do that. And they went ahead and resigned, and now are going, oh, I take it back. That I have a problem with that, actually. So I'm not inclined to have him come and take the reins. It's a little bit too much fickleness for my appreciation.
So I can appreciate that someone outside would be a good recommendation. The lack of transportation knowledge is concerning to me. There are consulting firms in Oregon that this is what they specialize in. So I think it behooves us to, if that's the direction we want to go, that we need to reach out to consulting firms who have knowledge of transportation. Transportation is very nuanced. And I think that if we make the wrong moves now, we are in danger of imploding this program. And that's very concerning to me. So I really think.
However, businesses are businesses too. There are
Agreed.
nuances, I'll grant you, to come in just when a business is ready to fail. I don't think you have to have the nuance that you might need 4 weeks down the line.
And and this is maybe an area that I can lend my expertise, because I have done consulting throughout the state of Oregon in regards to business itself. So, you know, I currently run a $10.5 million agency. Like, business is part of what I do. And so,
well, so
like,
that would be a wonderful resource for the outsider to have in you.
Agreed, but we need someone with transportation knowledge. That this is very I want to be on record. This is very concerning to me if we go this path.
I agree. We need somebody with experience, because this is very complicated. And I want somebody who knows the ins and outs. I'd rather have that. And also, in defense of our operations manager, he was under a lot of pressure because his dad
Agreed.
was very ill.
The other thing is I took a look at up this company, not knowing who they are, and looks like they've been in existence for about a year, but it also looks like their typical type of consulting they do is for campaign management and public relations, and I don't think that's kind of what we're after here.
I really think we should take a step back, go back to our original, go back to our existing contacts in transportation and go from there.
Can I ask, is Randy's dad, the last I heard, he was in pretty bad.
We probably shouldn't be talking about that specific item.
Well, but he still is going to be affected for what he can do.
Well, I think we need to have that conversation.
Wow.
No, I mean, that's to be realistic. It sounds like he has other things right now that are pressing.
That's fair. I concur that there's other things that would be pulling his attention.
Right.
And once again, I do not believe that this is the right direction to go.
Yeah, I would also like to take a look at our procurement policies and just see what they say. Again, I don't remember.
And if we are looking for contracts, then I can appreciate that we don't have time for an entire procurement process. But looking at one contract from one agency that I'm still not exactly, positive where that came from, doesn't feel like an appropriate process. If we want to do if we have the right to, because I don't know what our numbers are. But if we have the right to even move forward with this discussion, we need to do our due diligence in that. So that means reaching out to existing contracting agencies that work in transit in Oregon and see if they have the ability to make a quick proposal as well, and then move forward.
I
I would
agree.
even start with special districts,
Agreed.
because like I said, I know League of Oregon Cities and those, they always have usually retired, former.
I mean, I have names of
people that
retired
have done that.
individuals that I've
Yeah.
Googled in the last two days. And one from Lane County who literally retired within the last 2 years. Like, so there are people available that could be helpful in this.
John, do you have any opinion on this? We haven't heard from you yet.
John, we can't hear you. It looks like you're unmuted, but I can't hear you. So he wrote, sorry, I'm trying to connect with audio.
Okay.
You
All
can
right,
type
well-
something, you can type something that I can read, John, if you'd like.
Here we go.
Keep going, he said.
Okay, so we've had, we've had quite a few ideas put out there. What I'm sort of hearing is that there may be a general consensus to, well, even if we were to move forward with contracts, it looks like we would need to make some changes to the current proposal. Natasha has offered that she has several contacts that could be made to solicit additional consulting contracts. So I'm sort of hearing that maybe we reschedule another special meeting, perhaps for next week, after we've had an opportunity to request modifications to the current proposal and to request additional bids. Is that sort of the general consensus?
How quickly can someone review? If somebody wants to send it to me, I'll review it. But I'd like to review what our rights are in this, because I know that UPTD has their own process that's written into our bylaws. So I want to make sure we're honoring those 100%. I just don't know what they are.
I think we have-
It's a procurement policy, and yeah, Cheryl said that she was going to send that out to everyone.
Thank you. John wrote, my concern in the rescinding resignation of the ops manager, I need to know more about I need to know much more about the ops manager issue.
And I think that is an issue that may need to be discussed in executive session.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think we need to have a discussion with him.
Definitely.
Agreed.
All right, so do we want to table this for a special meeting next week? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Can I clarify, are Mike and Natasha going to be reaching out to different entities to be submitting proposals?
I think we could do that, or we could provide that information to Cheryl and have her solicit
Okay,
if she has time. I know she's working on quite a few time sensitive things. I want everyone to also realize that we have an audit Monday through Wednesday next week, which is going to eat up a lot of Cheryl's time. I'm going to be there for the audit as well. I do think that it is a good opportunity for, if we had hired a consultant by that date, to be able to gather additional information. I think those are 3 very important days. I realize that we also have this time constraint and likely are not going to be able to get someone there next week. So with all of that being said, what day and time works best for the board to reconvene, hopefully at the earliest possible time? Do we
I'm-
think maybe Wednesday is enough time to get additional bids?
I don't know how you do
Is
it
this,
really.
is this gonna be a really, I have family coming in from out of town too. So is this gonna be a real quick meeting or?
I mean, I think we need to, I'm fine, I think Wednesday possibly is great. I mean, I'll reach out to Cheryl right now with the people I found online. And but I think we need to have at least an hour and a half meeting, you know, like a legitimate conversation about multiple things that are happening right now.
Yes.
Well, we can move into executive session to discuss the employee issue today. So I think we can talk about that today. And then I think that we're just really planning this special meeting to review potential additional bids and really vote on which direction we're gonna go. So I don't know if we need an hour and a half on Wednesday, if everyone comes prepared to the meeting and has read the bids that we receive. I think we should probably be able to make that decision fairly quickly, don't you?
Agree.
Are you
I mean,
talking about it
I don't
in
know.
person?
No, I mean, we can do in person and virtual option if we want, or we can just do virtual, whatever works for everyone. I don't have an opinion.
Yeah, we have to give public notice for, we have to give notice for an executive session, correct? And we did that for today as well.
We
Yes,
did. It's
we
part of our
revised.
agenda.
Yes.
There's no, I didn't see an executive session on today's.
We posted the revised agenda with the executive session on the website yesterday.
Oh,
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Let's shore up these details of the meeting next week before we move into executive session. Do we want to do Wednesday then? What time works?
It would need to be later in the day because we do have the final day of the site review
The
on
audit, yeah.
Wednesday. Mhm.
So do we want to move that to Thursday? That's going to be a very busy day for you, Cheryl.
Yes, Thursday would definitely work better for me if it works for everyone else.
Is everybody okay with doing Thursday?
Thursday, I'm open from, I'm easily open from 12 to 2, and I can do something in the morning if you just give me like a specific time that I can work around.
I'm okay with 12 o'clock if that works for everyone.
that
Okay,
works.
Okay, let's go ahead and set that meeting for Thursday at noon. We are losing about a week of ground with that. So I just want the board to, be fully aware of that. We are in a time crunch right now. So
John says Thursday is okay. And then regarding time crunch, I feel like pausing for a week and setting the ship straight is worth a pause rather than moving forward with something that may not benefit us long term.
all right, Cheryl, I don't have, oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think it's gonna be a lot more than this little time pause to set the ship straight.
Oh, agreed. I just want to make sure we're headed in the right direction. Do you know you know what I mean? Like, I'd rather take a step back and head towards the east if that's our direction, rather than head west for the next 4 weeks and then do a reversal.
Hey,
All
Cheryl,
right,
let me-
Cheryl.
Seeing the
Okay.
updated board agenda on the website.
Pardon?
I'm not seeing the updated board agenda on the website.
Cheryl, can you pull that up on your screen?
Yeah, hold on, just one moment. Meetings. And, share screen. Oh. Okay. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yes,
And you see
Thank
the agenda?
yes.
Okay,
But I think Mike's question is, where is that posted on the website?
okay, so, one sec, let me move.
And I'm glancing, but I will be honest and say I don't know enough about the website to know where I'm going.
Sorry, I have to move it down in order to be able to sign up. Oh, God. Okay, hold on one sec.
So, I see the 16th agenda.
I just have to resize this so that I can get there with it shared. So let's try again. Board meetings.
It is on, it has executive session on it. I just clicked onto it.
Right, so we're on the
Awesome.
website under UpTD board meetings. Today is August 23rd.
Right.
This is the revised meeting
it.
with.
I found it too. Yay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
It's definitely there.
okay.
Okay. All right, then if we are good, I'm going to move us into executive session. So executive session ORS 192.6602I and ORS 192.6608 to review and evaluate the performance of an officer, employee, or staff member if the person does not request an open hearing. This reason for executive session may not be used to do general evaluation of an agency goal, objective, or operation, or any directive to personnel concerning those subjects. All
Okay.
right.
So with this being virtual and we do not have the option to put anyone in a waiting room, we actually have to disconnect everyone that is not a board member.
Okay, so if they call back in, will they be let into the waiting room and then they can rejoin after we
Yes.
okay. So for those listening, you're going to be removed from the meeting and you'll need to connect back in. That will put you into the waiting room, and then you will be added back to the meeting when we exit executive session.
All right. We still got a couple more to go.
Can you hear me yet?
Yes, John, hi.
There he is.
It was an Apple thing, I guess. I figured it out. Thank you. I'm back.
You know, what happens to me is if I go from Zoom to Teams and back again, at some point I lose something and everything says it's working and it always lies. And I never can figure out why.
Okay, great.
1 sec, we still got a couple of holdouts here.
There we go.
Okay, so is this everyone?
Hang on.
Okay, let me know, Cheryl, let me know when we have everybody from the waiting room in.
It looks as though everybody from the waiting room is now connected.
All right, perfect. All right, so we had a discussion regarding the discrepancy on the date of the agenda for our executive session. So we are actually going to move that executive session to our new meeting date, which is, I'm sorry, I'm already forgetting, Cheryl. What day did we select?
Thursday.
August 29th at 12 p.m.
Thank you. Thursday, August 29th at 12 p.m. We will, Cheryl, if you can add the same reasoning, the same ORS for that executive session
Yes.
for our next meeting, which means today we are going to take no action. And I believe that concludes all of our on-agenda items for this meeting. If there isn't anything else, then I will call the meeting adjourned. I'll give you guys just a second. Is there anything else to discuss? All right, hearing none, we will go ahead and adjourn this meeting at 10:07 a.m. Thank you all so much for your attendance today. We